G'day guys, got a brand new GPX-6000 has come in for the works. So yeah, been playing guitar, I got sore fingers now, damn steel strings. Yeah, so it's a bit tight. It's never been off before, I don't think. Oh, come on, off you come. Oh, yeah, like I said, brand new and tight as. Just got to find. Someone's wandered off with my decent screwdriver. Yeah, so yeah, brand newy. Let's see what it's like. I will take the battery off in a second. I haven't forgotten. God, someone's having fun out there. So, yep, like I say, the ends of my fingers are so damn sore, I can't even grab anything. Yeah, anyway, it's about to take the battery off. New battery. Yeah, and slide that off. Won't need that bit. Go there. And yeah, looks all right. Just give it a bit of a look over, just make sure there's nothing strange. And for these, you need a long number T10 for a lot of the screws on this. First of all, make sure that your drill goes around the right direction, or else you could have a problem. These are short ones, but I use this anyway. Get on there. Make sure you get in the screw, into the head of the screw. Don't do it on the plastic. Out you come. It was a difficult one. Yeah, these deep ones here, you got to feel to make sure you're right in there, like so. Like not so. Hang on a second. Because if you get down between the screw head and the actual plastic, it'll go nowhere. So you got to. I don't know why they use these things so far down. There we go. Get in there. There you go. So sometimes you've got to do this first and get in there. Otherwise, it just won't come out. It's a bit hit and miss sometimes. You can't really see. We sort of can. I'm trying to. There we go. Yeah, it should have been like a Phillips type screw, in my opinion. There's so much room in there that you can easily not aim properly. Yeah, I can sort of see it. Get on there. Yeah. I'm pretty sure I've got it. Yep. So it is difficult to get these T10 torques on the actual middle part. There we go. Get that off. And down there they put another one, of course. I can just see it in the light. Got it. Off you go. So when you get to this point here, you got all your screws. Don't just go yank. Pull it back a little bit. And if you can see in there, So I haven't even put the light on here. How about I put the light on? There we go. That one. Well, so I'm going to shut the door because there's a lot of noise out there. There we go. So when you get to this part here, don't wrench it. The old plastic clip there, you do wiggle it side to side, pull it up about a millimetre each side, and that mylar just pops out. Like I say, if these don't bend them around too much, they could break. You want to pop the board out? Well, you need a big socket like that. Stick it on there, and we'll see how tight it is. Loose. Usually tighter than that, but that one's fairly loose. And also comes off easy. Push it, and out pops whatever, $6,000 worth of circuit board. So yeah, that's basically the detector. The evil black module. You will not repair it. You will not do anything to it, as that's totally sealed up with resin, and if it fails, you're basically up the proverbial. Now, one thing they have done on the later ones, I better point this out as well, just for fun, they used to have little plastic push-in things between the boards, and they got screws in it now. They've actually gone and put real screws in there, because what would happen before is this is a fault. Sometimes you get a coil fault on your 6000, but the coil's on, the coil's good. What actually happens is that when it had the plastic things, and it has metal ones now, but the plastic ones used to have a bit of give, and this connector here, it used to open up, and if it opened up just a little bit, it would drop the communication between the main chip here, this one, and your data line coming in here, because it goes in here, does a bit of it's got like a little relay type. It's a solid state data converter type thing. It overcomes any loss in transmission speed for the chip in the coil, and that goes into there, and it basically says, "Hello, I'm here, and please turn on." So yeah, that's a 6000 board. As you can see, it's full of 4053s along here. I think they're just some op amp or something. I've never really had much of a delve into it. Dual A to D's by look, and yeah, power supply is in this area here. Basically a switch mode, fills these caps up here. I think it's 15 volts positive, and this is your transmit part here. There's your transmit MOSFET in there, little surface mount one. It goes through those two series diodes. There's two in there because one won't cut the must. And yeah, there's a choke sense resistor on the other side, which is covered up with a bit of hot melt glue for some reason. I don't know if you can see in there. And yeah, then it goes out to the coil. Then you got the weird floating earth or shield connection. This one here, you do anything wrong to that, it blows up that damn module, that black one there. So if you fiddle it, don't go and stick the earth and accidentally put on the transmitter or anything like that, because it'll stuff your detector. If it's yeah, in warranty, they might know that you did something to it, and if it's out of warranty, well, you're going to be buying new modules. So, or sorry, you'll be buying new boards. I was told they sell these in pairs. You can't buy a board. So if you stuff this receive module here, what happens? You got to buy new boards, and I think they're something like $6,000. So you don't want to do that. You got to be very careful with these. There's nothing really. I'm just trying to think of anything you can really do any damage to the board by just pulling it apart. Not really. As long as you haven't got lightning fingers or something and go and touch it all and flash it and burn it out. But, everything's, basically static. Once it's mounted on the board, it's basically static proof anyway, within reason, as long as you don't go and put a big potential across it, like, stick it on earth and then hit it with something with bolts on it. It will do damage, possibly. So, yeah, you want to pull this apart. You want to take out this section here and just make sure that, they dribbled glue down. There's glue on it, and there's glue in there. So that makes it a little bit more difficult, but they do that. So we get our driver. When you do this, 3 screws here. Make sure that you're actually in the screw. Don't slip off and go woof across the board. That would be very embarrassing indeed. So probably do it by hand, but I've done it enough times that I'm pretty confident I'm not going to go skating across the board. So yeah, you get in here next to components. Just be careful. That's if you want to pull your board apart. Now we got down to this part here. We have Phillips screws, and they're probably the in-between size of this and the other one I've got, but have a look. Yeah, actually it's way too big. I've got to get the right size driver for that, which is definitely not that, because that's a flat blade. Where are you? Nope. Must be that one. Yep. Well, someone's borrowed it. Yeah, it's funny. With Phillips head drivers, I tell you what, I can never keep a set of them. They just disappear. So anyway, this could spin either way. You could spin it from the one side or the other side. Doesn't really make any difference. But, sometimes if you undo it like the way I'm doing it, the whole assembly will spin, and you've got to stick a screwdriver in the other side. So just you put your finger on it anyway, and just make sure it comes off like so. Yeah, nothing to be scared about as long as you don't do anything dumb. Okay, get in there. I'm sticking my finger on the other side, just make sure that the whole thing isn't turning around. So do that nicely, like so. They've all got a little bit of blue Loctite on them of some description too, but it doesn't seem to do anything. I'm just doing that like loose as. So yeah, if you have a look, they've got, I don't know if you can see that, they've got blue Loctite on them, but it doesn't really lock anything. No big deal. So anyway, when you get the board like so, this is if you want to pull it apart, of course. This one's coming for full upgrades, so it's going to get the treatment, and just wiggle, and off she comes. As you can see, you have these mating boards. This is the one here of the data that when you used to, you used to bump the detector and the thing would go, well, no, it's no coil. It's just because this connector here would just jump out a little bit, and yeah, it's just basically break communication, and the detector would have a hernia. But if I haven't got one of the other boards here, I could show you the plastic things they used to put on, but obviously they're not doing that now. They've put in the screws. So if you want to have a good look at the boards anyway, have a good look. That's basically the brains of the whole thing. There's your audio amplifier in here. There's a couple of switch mode power supplies in here. Look on the back, you can always tell under the main CPU, tons and tons of capacitors, supply capacitors, bypassing, analog digital converters are here. Basically, if you count that out, it's the same amount of 4053s you'd find in a GPX-4500 or 5000. It's funny that. So yeah, if you pick up wherever they are, I've got some boards here, but no big deal. So this is the interesting part of the detector anyway. This is under the board. This is all your high voltage here. And they've actually, like I said, I think I said it before, they've actually written in here high voltage. And those dashed lines means don't stick your fingers in there. Even when it's off, you have the capacitors will hold charge and will give you a boot. So be very careful about touching anything in that area there. Even if the detector's been off, normally you'd probably expect to find a bleeder resistor or something like that bleeds off the high voltage. It basically shorts it out over time, more or less. But if that goes open circuit, you will get a belt, so don't risk it. And like I was saying with these modules, okay, if you can see all those pins on the black module there, and on the other side, and there, that's the power supply part of it anyways, plus or minus 5. Here, what is the interesting thing, now how are you going to take that module out without damaging all those parts next to the pins? You're not going to be able to do it. You can't solder suck these things. You could try, but there's surface mount components right along there, and you won't be able to get onto it. It's just one of those things. That could be taken out. Yeah, there is a way of doing it, but it's all risky. And the thing is, who knows what's in that module? The whole thing's hard resin, you just can't do much about it. Like I say, I'm waiting on these damn connectors to come for here. I've got some cable connectors coming, so what I can actually do is I can run the boards on the bench, and I can measure all the pins along here of the oscilloscope, and we'll see what each one of these pins does and where it goes into the circuit and the ancillary stuff around it. And we'll be able to work out the ins and outs. Most of those pins are just ground connections, actually. So there's a bit going on in there. I think more than anything, there is just a preamplifier in there. Maybe there's a variable gain amplifier in there. It's not going to be anything too hard. You can tell straight away. You got the two capacitors here. That's for your plus and minus 5-volt rails into this. And it sounds very, very, AD797 or something in there. Maybe it's different chips, but they've done that, in my opinion, to thwart the Chinese knockoffs, because you don't know what's in that black module. You can't copy it. Maybe you could reverse engineer the functionality of the board, basically all the switching for your receive inputs and stuff like that. All this is very pedestrian basic stuff here. In here, it's a bit more complicated. But if you know the functionality there, you can back engineer an IC well, basically, what do you want to call it? It's, I think that one there, what is it? Micro semi. It's got something written on. What's it called? Smart Fusion 2. That's what it is. Got to hold it in the light to try and read it. It's got lacquer over it or something. So yeah, Smart Fusion 2. That's probably a field programmable gate array of some description or BGA type chip. All the connections are underneath. But all the connections go to all these little resistors here all around it. It's just the way it's done, except for hard power and stuff like that, or hard and fast data line stuff like that. Realistically, if you want to put money at it, you can reverse engineer this. You don't reverse engineer that. You basically look at the functionality of everything else, and you bring that back to a CPU or MPU, and then you program that to run the functionality of the rest of the board. So, it's not knockoff proof. It's partially knockoff proof. But if people got the money to spend, if the Chinese really wanted to do it, you sit there with, a good going over, do it logically, because it's a metal detector. It's not, rocket science. It transmits, it receives, it does a bit of signal processing. It's just multi-channels coming in, and just probably as much the same coding, really, as the earlier GPXs. Maybe a little bit different, spacings and timings and that. I don't know. I'm just saying that this is, as I say, it's educational. All these videos are educational. They're not saying, "Oh, we're going to go knock off this design and stuff like that." No, you can't really. But if you really wanted to, you probably could. You could reverse engineer anything and everything. It's just electronics. It does a function. Anything with a function can be reverse engineered, just going back on its functionality into the real world. So there might be some stuff in there. Maybe you got some sort of filtering and processing and noise reduction. I don't think there's any noise reduction. Sorry, but there might be. I don't know. I can't see what's in that. I've got no idea. I'm just guessing, aren't I? But overall, yes, you more than likely can come up with something very much like this if you want to put the time and effort into it, and just basically go over everything and measure it. Just measure it, make up, logic, truth tables, and just see what's going on around the place. You muck around for it long enough, you get an idea what's going on. That's the truth of the matter. So, yeah, there you go. That's the board, well, the main CPU board. And I'll tell you what I found, actually. If any of these ever play up, I've had a few that have played up, and I've fixed them, right? Most of your problems are on this board. Well, actually, every board I've ever had that with a problem is on this board. It's not on the board with the CPU on it. That is just too light duty. When you get anything heavy, switching basically decent currents, what do these things run? About 3 watts or something. But if you actually have this running and you stick your fingers in here, not that I would go and stick my fingers in there, but if you actually did, those 2 series diodes there, they get really warm to touch, and also so does that power MOSFET in there as well. Your transmit stage, it gets very hot as well. So there is a lot of heat generated, but the boards are made that the board acts like a big heat sink. It's the way it's done in layers. So it does conduct the heat, but it's still warm to touch. It's not going to burn you, but you can feel the heat, and you won't keep your finger there long. You'll take it away. So when you have a look at all this, you can say, well, what goes wrong? What goes wrong in these? Mainly anything doing switching functions. You know, look, basically all these things like these devices here, the 3 legs and the heatsink tab on it, those things there. I'm not going to go into great detail, but you know, anything doing a switching function, regulation function, like in here, you stick your battery volts, and 5 volts comes out here, and gets converted into 15. So you got just check the end of the diode there, make sure you've got 15 volts in relation to ground, and you say, well, all that's running. Then you want to find 5 volts, that regulates the 5 volts down on that rail there. And then you've got a 2.5 volt reference here, another 5 volt reg. And yeah, through there, plus or minus 5 volts into the module. You know, just things like that. You know, you'll soon be able to work out what's what by just looking at things logically, how they work with, you know, the power supply, um, and how it's all configured. So yeah, you really want to split the boards though. You do need the 21 pin headers, which yeah, and you got to make up your own cables as well. So I have got those coming. I don't know where they are. It said they're at Melbourne Airport. I haven't seen them for about a week or two, so they haven't rolled up yet. I might have got lost and have to get some more. Now the other thing too, where that damn blue wire goes here, if you do sometimes short the thing out, there is it solders in here, and there is a series resistor. I think it's 10 ohms. If you short it out, that can actually, you want to hope that goes open circuit, doesn't go into that module. But if you find if it doesn't work and it's carrying like a pork chop, there's a 10 ohm resistor surface mount one in there. And I think there's also another one, 22 ohms or something in conjunction with it as well. And yeah, there's another one here. I think that one there is in the data line. Am I wrong? No, I'm wrong. In here, there's a 3.3 volt regulator. If you stuff up on the data, you try and muck around with the dongle, you want to hope you blow the 3.3 volt regulator up, and don't stuff up the chips, anything going into the CPU for data, even though it's protected by 10K resistors in series, or is it 1K, one or the other. You don't want to shove any sort of high voltage flyback or anything into the dongle wires, because you know, if you don't you know, have the resistor go open circuit, you're gonna have a big problem. And if it goes into that module, that black module, you're going to be in a world of pain. So in that regard, everything here you have to be very careful of. So you know, it's still relatively on that side. You know, it's very pedestrian type componentry. It's just small, fiddly. Um, you know, it's much for much. The real problem with these, for any serviceability and anything out of warranty, is that, like I say, um, if I owned one of these and it was coming up on end of warranty, I would offload it, because if that thing goes, like I've been told through my own customers what's happened if they've had problems with these, and it's called new set of boards, please, which would bring tears to your eyes, because you'd be better off probably just buying a whole new detector and having it for warranty again. That's my opinion. It's absolutely, yeah. Look, you know, if the Chinese didn't knock things off, they probably wouldn't put these modules in there. Or maybe they would. Maybe they don't like people doing things with the input stage of these things and boosting them up or anything. But yeah, you don't really need to get into that as such. There's a lot more you can do to these to make them much better, as you can read the comments in my videos on these detectors, where people have commented on these after I've done them up. So yeah, it's good. Anyway, this has come in for complete and utter total upgrades. basically shuts the thing up because they are noisy. They are noisy. A lot of the noise is self-induced on a lot of these detectors. It's very easy to see that. It's very easy to prove it as well. So I've got myself another dongle, by the way. So I'll be making up a cancel coil for these detectors. I've got to do it in a very careful way. You can't just use normal Litz wire because you might overstress the transmit driver on these. And if the current limiting doesn't kick in, well, yeah, you're going to be replacing that device there on the board. And as it's a flat pack, you've got to heat the whole board up. And it's really horrible to do. Can be done. I've done it. I've taken parts off these boards. You've got to warm the whole board up to get rid of the heat sinking action of the board. It just sucks the heat out of any. If you try and unsolder something, it's going to suck the heat out of it like crazy. But yeah, there's a few things on these that can be done, absolutely for sure. Yeah, I'm going to get stuck into this. I'm not going to video doing it because I know it'll happen if I do a big explanation of how to do it. There's a lot of stuff I do. I don't like anyone seeing, if I change parts and that, I've got to make sure that no one can see that the parts are being changed. And it's very, very hard to do because I've got to do hand soldering. It looks like machine soldering that it went through a soldering oven, basically. And yeah, the less heat stress on these, the better. You got to just warm it up and do it quickly, and yeah, then clean it up. And anyway, like I say, I could explain how to do it all, but I don't want to. I'd have no intention of spilling the beans on all that. And yeah, like I say, if you want to pull it apart and do this, play with it, it's on you. It's on your head because you do something wrong and you might have big egg on face. That's how I'll put it. But yeah, just going over it, it's just, the first time you open one of these up, you've never seen one before, you go, oh, you sort of have a bit of a knee-jerk reaction to, oh my God, it looks so complicated, It's not really. It's not really complicated. It's like anything. You work on it enough times, it's no big deal. Like I say, I'll get this board here. Hang on, I'll reach over. I was going to show you that it's got a sticker on it. We don't want that. It's also got a toothpick on it. Don't want that. But if you have a look on these things here, what do we got? We got they're op amps. I better make sure what I was saying about that is exactly what I was saying. But like I say here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. On the 4053s, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So, and 10. That's one as well. Forgot about that. Otherwise, you wouldn't have any cancel mode on one of these, or DD mono switchability. So, hang on, where's my 4 eyes? I should just check that because I don't like saying things are something when they're not. Oh, damn, I've got lacquer on them again. I can't remember off the top of my head. Hang on a sec. I need some really good light. It's got blobby lacquer over it. Makes it hard to read. Oh, come on. Yeah, the lacquer's all gone up in bubbles. Oh, God, I can just about read it, but come on. Yep. Oh, they're all 4053s. They are 4053s. And underneath those, these should be dual op amps, actually. I can't read the number on those. It's way too small. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, 12. Okay. So these here, I am pretty much of the opinion they are dual op amps along there. They're all 4053s there. And if we have a look on this board here, they're all 4053s there. They're on the other side as well. And these ones along here are dual op amps as well. So, you know, it's very, very similar in architecture, except it's got a little bit extra on it. and yeah, this one runs a lot more little transmit pulses, a lot smaller and finer for very tiny gold, lots of sampling. Yeah, so it's, you know, it's just what you look at it and you first put on the oscilloscope, you go, oh yeah, that's how it works, and that's basically it. So, like I say, all these detectors, they're all just variations of the old SD2000. That's all they are, really. They're the 2000. They're all, hang on, what can we say? They're all improvements from the 2000. The 21 was an improvement on that. The 22 was an improvement on the 21. 3000 extremes, they're improvement on the 22. GPX is a improvement on the GP. You know, so basically they're all modified SD2000s, aren't they? If you really want to cut the mustard, that's what they are. They're all modified basic principle pulse induction detectors. No matter how complex they look, they're the functionality is the same. Maybe, like I say, it's got some, a lot of analog digital conversion. It's got some DACs in it. I think there's a DAC in it as well. All the switching, any filtering's all done in that device there. The black chocolate block on the front, I do know that there is a polyester capacitor in it because if these get hot, they explode. The polyester comes out, cracks the top and comes out. Something around there, I've seen these that have failed. Something in here gets red hot and it cracks open, smoke pours out. So, that's when they fail. That's what I've seen. And like I say, you don't know, you can't dig into this stuff. This is much worse than the white paint. This is like, it might as well be a fired ceramic block, with parts in it, but it's not. It's really difficult. I'll tell you what though. I'll tell you something. You can actually, I discovered something. You can actually get the black plastic epoxy off it. I'll never ever say how it's done, but I had a 7000 that I was going to do, but the guy put the module on a surface grinder and bloody took the tops off the parts, and I probably would have been able to fix it if that didn't happen. And I've always been waiting for another one to come with a good module in it so I can fix his detector. Zach, another Zach, your detector's still here, and I just haven't been able to come across a black module for you because that's what's wrong with it. The rest of the detector's fine, except in the 7000, I haven't got a 7000 bits. I'll put my one back together, damn it. But the module part of it, you can't get it. They won't sell to you. Speaking of not selling, I got told, I don't know whether to believe this or not. This could be, hearsay, but my dealers, this is what I got told. So I'll just say dealers, not being specific. Dealers are told they're not allowed to sell componentry for detectors to the general public or anybody that repairs detectors. And maybe, again, I'm just saying this could be real, it could be hearsay, might be exaggeration, I don't know. But I thought it was interesting anyway in what was said that with their components, they have to have jobs that come in that needs whatever components it may be, and the dealers get audited by Minelab to see that it actually did go into a job and it didn't go out the door for someone else to repair a detector. Now, is that true? Is it not? Maybe the dealers out there want to anonymously leave a comment, right? Because I know from history what Minelab's like. I don't know if it's changed, but do the wrong thing, kiss your dealership goodbye. You could, have a look back in history to what happened to finders in Denali. It's another story of the early Minelab days when they brought out, I can't remember, I think it was a 3000, but I remember it quite well. And it's on the net too, if you want to go look it all up, that poor old Ken had a detector come in and they said it went X% deeper than the previous model, and he went and tested it. He said, no, it doesn't. And he wouldn't back down, and he basically said it doesn't. And anyway, the word was that some tech went out there and was told, make this detector go deeper, couldn't do it. This will probably piss everyone off me saying this, but it's true. It's 100% true. There's a lot of witnesses to it as well. A lot of people know about this. And what actually happened is that they couldn't make this newer detector go deeper than the previous model. So the best way to fix it was take Ken's dealership off him, which is a bit rude, right? But look, like I'm saying, we'll call that the bad old days before Coden took over the operations or the ownership of Minelab. So I don't know. I'll say this stuff. It's actually true. They can't do you for saying the truth, and they probably don't like it. Bad luck. It's a truth, and because I know Dale, I know firsthand. Because anyway, I used to be very, very involved with Ken at Finders. Anyway, there's a lot of stories about that place, but I'm not going to go into it. Some of it is quite funny, but it's some of it's just a bit too much to say. But on a corporate level like that, yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, so that's why he ended up selling Whites and Garretts. I think he didn't sell any Minelab detectors after that. They left the door open for someone else to come in. But yeah, what a time. I used to actually, back in the day, right? Back in the day, I used to buy detectors. I used to buy Minelabs off Ken. Ken would put a few bucks on them. I'd get them, and I was selling them in back in 94, 95, 96. I was selling them here in Ballarat. Yes, and also some other brands too. So we had multiple distribution of detectors through one shop, going elsewhere. Anyway, I don't sell detectors anymore, and that was a long time ago. So no one should get upset about that. But that's what used to happen, and it was all 100% exactly true. I had a shop in Lydiard Street, and if you walked in there, there would have been Whites detectors and Minelab detectors. So the days. I hope Mr. Day down the road doesn't take too much offence to that, but it was just a bit like the Wild West in those days. So yeah, I was doing detectors sort of as a bit of a sideline, but I wasn't how would you say, proper distributor. But I think it was happening everywhere. A lot of people were getting them, through Ken, and that's what was happening anyway. Finders is gone, out of business. And I won't mention why it went out of business, but that's another story altogether. I don't want to mention that one. Yeah, so there we go. There's a bit of a story for you that is absolutely completely 100% on the money. So yeah, if people like me never brought up the past and said stuff like this, no one would ever know, would they? Well, people do know, but no one would probably ever have the reason to say it. But I thought it was just a bit of fill, a bit of waffle. So give you an insight to how things used to happen. But yeah, I don't know. So anyway, we'll see how I go trying to get some specific Minelab parts. You won't get the black modules. You're not going to get any program chips. The rest of it, all the rest of the stuff, you can buy it. Just buy it through Mouser or DigiKey if you need parts. It's like I say, it's pedestrian stuff. The hard bit module that displays you can get. You can get displays aftermarket as well. I've got really good displays for the 7000s. Plastic stuff and that. You know, if you want plastic parts, maybe they'll sell it to you, maybe they won't. You know, maybe they're going to say, well, you've got to take it into the dealer to get it done. You're going to pay a lot more than what the parts are worth. On this, I don't really know. I've just been, you know, people talk to me, they inform me. Is it true? Is it not? A lot of cases, it's all turned out to be true. You know, even on some of the, you know, early detectors that used to blow up for no reason, and there was no recalls done on them, and people used to find out the hard way, switches failing because they all had oxidized contacts. Oh dear me. I think at some stage there, people are actually sending me the engineering bulletins from Minelab with all the repairs. I don't think that happens anymore. I think that's a good way to lose your dealership as well. You know, don't say anything about that. But like I say, that's in the old days. The old days when Coden had no input on how Minelab was run as a company. So I'm not saying it's a good thing or a bad thing. It's just things that happened. So, you know, it's a business. You know, good on them. They're protecting their brand. You know, they probably don't like people fiddling with their detectors, especially when they're in warranty, which I can understand because I would feel the same. You know, you get something in, you see someone's been into it, and you go, "Oh bloody hell!" You know, and you know, in a lot of cases, the customer is always right, even though they did something and blew it up. You know, and like, you know, even if they did, say someone did something stupid, put another coils on, blew the module up, and you could tell damn well how they did it. You know, to replace, if you had to replace two boards, or even you know, on the replace the 7000 or replace this. I mean, the companies, these things will not be cheap. Even the manufactured cost of that will not be cheap, not at all. You know, it's not like a sausage factory just spitting out sausages. You know, everything on this has dollar value, and you know, you don't want to do too many, you know, repairs out the door because it would start really biting after a while. So these things have to work perfectly. And even though, you know, like I said, most of the stuff that does go wrong is very relatively easy to fix. It can be tracked down pretty quickly and repaired. Some parts, you know, say for instance, you know, if the not that it hardly ever happens, but this device here, this Smart Fusion 2, wanted to do internal fusion on itself and blew up or whatever. You know, what are you going to do? Do they actually? I don't know. Do they fix these at component level, replacing these things? I suppose you can. Of course you can. But what a job! And yeah, you know, do they do it, or do they just piff it and throw a new board in there? I don't know. So, there's a lot of stuff. Even I'm looking at these boards. Don't take this the wrong way, but there's a lot of parts on there I'd change. I'd change it because I would. That's me. That's my opinion. Um, I can see stuff in there that I would change, but because of the structure of the board, it's very difficult to do so, and I'm not going to do it. So, um, well, some I can, some I can't. Some are just too damn difficult. The amount of heat, if you want to try and get rid of, say that device there with all its, 16 legs on it, whatever it's got, it's very small pitch. To get that off will be extremely difficult. To clean it up and get another device on there, extremely difficult. It could take you a long time to do. It just will not come off straight away. Those things like that on this heat sink type board with its multi layers, you're going to heat it up. It's just going to suck the heat out of everything. And even trying to replace it, if you don't have the right tooling, you're not going to be able to do a good job. So anyway, that's just on this stuff. So like I said, I have a 6000 which was done. Well, actually, I'm getting given the other 6000 for doing this one, right? So, but the other 6000 needs a bit of cosmetic surgery. Actually, I need some new. Well, it doesn't need new bits. It will function with the bits on it, but I'm not going to show it because you might know who owns it or who did own it or whatever the story is. But it's ugly, and I might have to have a talk to Minelab to see if I can get some new plastic bits for it. Because if it goes out in the field, everyone's going to think that the 6000 is one ugly duckling of a detector. For what has been done, it was all functional. What was done to it, but the execution of it made it look really ugly. So I might have to have a talk to see if I can get some plastic bits. I don't need the case. It's just the other plastic bits I need because, like I say, if anyone saw it and thought it was a proper Minelab, right, they'd say, "Ooh, oh, not buying one of those," right? If you knew the whole context of what I'm saying, you'd understand. But and I think if I explained it to Minelab that why I want to make it look pretty, right, they would understand as well. But I don't know what the story is now. I've been told that the part supply has been locked up. I've got to find out if that's true or not. I don't know. And if it's the electronic hard to get bits, I can understand. 100% I can understand. But the other thing too, you've got to be careful because things that aren't supplied by the company, our friends in China start making them. And I'm not joking. You can get the plugs. This is probably a proprietary socket. I don't know if it is or it's not. I don't know. It could be aircraft or something. Could be marine. I don't know. It is what it is. If you really wanted to, you could, just wire the dongle directly on the board and stick a 5-pin microphone connector on it and use your own coils. As long as your resistance is right, you could do that and run your external earthing wire, spiral it down the outside the cable and put heat shrink on it and just connect that to the shield in the coil and nothing else. It'll work. I've done it, proven it works. So, by making, companies need to realize, and this is just my opinion, that you make things hard for people. And if there is a demand for it, you don't supply, the vacuum will be filled, or that void will be filled by opportunistic companies in other countries where you have a hard time doing anything about it. And, Australia Post don't seem to care less because things keep coming into the country. I see them all the time. And, you're just not going to stop it. So my advice would be the more you supply, and this is probably my own personal opinion, and also probably a little bit of bias for my own personal benefit as well, but I think it's wise to make things available so as to shut down the competition from overseas that starts making things. Because what happens, they get a leg up and they start making more and more. They go, oh, there's $1 in this. And then next thing, you've got complete competition detectors and things. So, just my opinion. It's just, I know what they do. I know how it starts off. You might say, well, we're going to not do any of this, but no, that vacuum is going to be filled. It will. Have a look on Alibaba. You don't particularly have to, you've got to use particular keywords. You don't put Minelab in there because it usually flags things, gets taken off. But detector parts, detector accessories, detector batteries, stuff like that, and it all starts coming up. And you'll also find it on other websites too. It's all pay by PayPal. It's shipped by various means, however you want it shipped, and rolls up on the doorstep. So, every spare part, like, batteries for 6000s, right? These are coming out of China at 100 mile an hour. So, the dealers here and also Minelab are missing out because there's all these batteries flooding in. There's all these copies. Don't know if you can see that over there, but that's a direct copy of a Minelab battery for a GPX. It's from China. Super Gold Finder, doesn't say Minelab on it, but you look inside, it's a complete knockoff. Like the GPX-6000, sorry, 6000, that's a 6000. Like even these, you know damn well that GDX and GFX 7000 and 8000s are knockoffs with the Minelab board, Minelab designed board in it, and they're sold online. I saw them there. Some of them I've seen them as low as $800, and usually around about $1,400 to $1,600. And you want to go buy a new 5000, what's going to happen? I mean, they never got the code for the 5000, haven't got the other modes in it, but they are copying the 4500, just bang, 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 out the door they go. And, how do you stop that? It's very, very difficult. You can't, it just, you try and get onto them, it'll just move around. You won't be able to get onto them because it's not the company selling it who are making it. It's made elsewhere. It might go down through 2 or 3 hands, wherever it comes from, and you're not going to be able to stomp it out. It just moves around. So in this game, I've heard a lot of stuff. I heard that they were putting in a fact. No joke. This is years ago, but when they got the design for this, I was told they were putting in a factory in northern Somalia to make these boards so they couldn't be touched. And then they were shipping them out to Dubai or something. But anyway, I think at one point of time, something happened there, and all these detectors in Dubai that were earmarked to go into Africa are all steamrolled or something. Yeah. But anyway, there's a lot of opportunists out there, and you give them an inch and they'll take a mile for sure. It is the way it is. Anyway, I better get stuck back into this. I just thought it was interesting thing of events, and like I say, I do want to find out if parts are available for this stuff, because if they are, great. If they're not, well, you want some plastic bits. Well, if you've got a 3D printer, you probably print your own if you really wanted to. There's enough people out there making aftermarket stuff on, putting it all up on eBay and wherever else, and I've seen stuff from a lot of the distributors making cable guards and plug guards and sound redistribution things for things with speakers in the arse end of them. Uh, um, yeah, all that sort of stuff. But yeah, I think you know you got to look after your customers, guys. You got to look after your customers, and don't make it difficult for anybody because people, social media these days. Something happens and someone doesn't like it. Well, it's broadcast everywhere, and thousands of people see it, and then thousands of people talk to other people in that same group, and it spreads like wildfire. So you really have to you know kiss ass sometimes, putting it politely. You really do, because otherwise things go pear-shaped. But I don't know. I don't think Minelab's too bad these days as a company. It used to be you know heavy-handed on smaller players, which never went down too good. But on the big knockoffs and that, yeah, 100%. Knock them off their perch. Many a time, I've found something out, and I've sort of, in a particular way, passed it on because some of it was just blatantly, just criminal, absolutely criminal, what was happening. So yeah, I was not impressed, and basically the quality wasn't there. It was said, sort of put out as the same thing. It didn't work the same, and it just gave it gives a legitimate company a bad name, doesn't it? It's not a good thing. So I think some cases, if you see these cheap detectors out there, I always say, you know, it's probably better off to avoid, but people do buy them, and then they have to send them somewhere. Like I get them, and they, poor old pensioner, saved up his last razookas and bought one. So, you feel like, God, you can't not help them out. But then again, it's a sale that the Chinese got, and in all probability, maybe Minelab would never have got the sale, and it just happened because it was so damn cheap. They could always go out and buy a gold monster. Uh, I just saying it as it is, and like these weirdo detectors, I don't really like seeing them. I don't advertise. Send it in here. I'll make it better. I don't like doing it. It's just that some people just want to take a cheaper option, maybe because of circumstances, and that's where it ends up. And it just if I was if you're hard ass corporate business, I'd say go away, go away, go away. But sometimes you feel sorry for people and you got to help them out. It's just the way it is. I suppose it's customer service. We're a big corporate. It's not going to take too kindly to that sort of stuff, but smaller businesses might. I don't think Minelab dealers will have anything to do with it, because touching that stuff may put your whole distributorship in jeopardy. Because I know that, guys, I've heard a lot of stuff. I just heard a lot of stuff from a lot of people. I deal with a lot of people. So, yeah, like I say, I'm not saying where it comes from or anything like that. Never going to out anybody. If it has, a severe impact, if it's funny and it has no impact on their business, yeah, why not? But not stuff like that, because I know that it will have repercussions. So you've got to zip it. But yeah, all good fun. And I better do this. I've talked about it, and I've got to get in there and do the hard yards. I should have actually cleaned my bench down first before I did it. Looking at this complete schmozzle. I've had so many detectors. Oh my God, it's just been flat out. I haven't had time to clean up. It just goes bang, 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 and they're everywhere, So you know, that's why it gets a bit crazy. But I think I have to clean my little blue silicon mat off because it's all getting a bit crazy. I can't work on that with it like that. So I'll clean it up, and next time you see it, it'll be nice and clean. I'll get the little vacuum out and suck all the you know, $100+ worth of parts that have fallen down or something on the bench. I don't know. I'll clean it up anyway. But yeah, like I say, all good fun. Leave it there. That's enough of a waffle. Oh God, I've gone over an hour. Oh gee, it's 20 to 8 in the evening. I haven't even had dinner. Gee, yeah, too much talk and not enough work. Anyway, I hope there was an interesting story or two in that lot. Hope no one gets too peed off with saying particular things. But like I say, it was in the distant past, and it's no reflection on the operations of businesses, how it is nowadays anyway. You know, I've spoken to the guys at Minelab. They're fine. It's you know, they don't go, oh God, it's you. You know, like freaking slam the phone down or anything like that. Doesn't happen. So you know, it is what it is. You know, they got a culture and a reputation to protect. So you know, if you mention my name now, they'll probably say, oh, I don't know who that is. I've had that before. Anyway, all good. Catches.